government.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the story behind the story. My guest today, Mr. Sterling Allen. Sterling, again, thanks so much. We were cut off when we went to commercial. Go ahead and finish up, if you would.
Yeah, let's just give a quick introduction to what this is about. The story title is Mother of All Gushers Could Kill Earth's Oceans. Imagine a pipe 5 feet wide spewing crude oil like a fire hose from what could be the planet's largest high-pressure oil and gas reserve. With the best technology available to man, the Deepwater Horizon rig popped a hole into that reserve and was overwhelmed. If this isn't contained, it could poison all the oceans of the world. Even now, with what's been released now, we're talking 10 years to clean up. But what could happen, what could be unleashed from this thing, could be unparalleled in the history of the world and could even fulfill some of the biblical scary prophecies about a third of the waters being, or a third of the living animals in the sea, the creatures dying. Revelations 8:9 or Ezekiel 32, then will I make their waters deep and cause their rivers to run like oil.
BP and Transocean say it's too soon to know what happened or whether the blowout preventers failed, as the men seem to think they did.
Yeah, relying on the
Is set up to inform the entire rig of any of three conditions. Number 1, fire. Number 2, combustible gas. Number 3, toxic gas. Each one of those conditions has a distinct tone and a distinct visual light. We have light columns throughout the rig. One red. Within the column there's a red, a yellow, and a blue. With the red being fire, yellow being toxic, blue being combustible. So you get an audio tone and a visual tone with every general alarm.
Did you get either one of those alarms on the evening of April 20th?
No, sir.
Do you know why you never got that alarm, sir?
Yes, they were bypassed.
And how do you know they were bypassed, sir?
Because I physically seen it on the screen. They're actually what's considered inhibited, not bypassed. The correct word is inhibited.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you please explain what inhibited means to me then? I'm sorry.
You have 4 states of alarms. You have a normal operating condition. You have an inhibited condition, which simply means that the sensor is active, it is sensing, and it will alarm, and it will give the information to the computer, but the computer will not trigger an alarm for it. It'll give you the indication, but it won't trigger the actual alarm. When I discovered it was inhibited about a year ago, I inquired as to why it was inhibited, and the explanation I got was that from the OIM down, they did not want people woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning due to false alarms.
Any new developments in the cleanup effort?
Well, I think the thing that's outrageous is that we only have 20 skimmers off the coast of Florida. There are 2,000 skimmers in the United States. We haven't even asked, as a federal government, for those skimmers to come to the Gulf. We have these huge swaths of oil right off our beaches that could really ruin our way of life in North Florida. And the federal government, who wants to take over every other aspect of our life, can't get this one thing right that they should be doing right. So I've talked to the president about it. He doesn't seem to know the situation about foreign skimmers, domestic skimmers. They said to me, look, you know, some of these skimmers we can't take from other places in the country because they may need them for an oil spill. That's like, you know, me saying, well, I can't send the fire truck to your house that's burning down because another house may burn down. It just doesn't make any sense.
So you're saying we have the capability of cleaning up this mess right now. Obama's just dropping the ball.
He is. We have 2,000 skimmers in this country, plus foreign countries. The Dutch came into my office yesterday and said, we have these super skimmers. We've been offering them, and the U.S. government is saying no. There was a report out from Associated Press this week that 21 offers of assistance from 17 countries have been denied. it's just beyond comprehension that we wouldn't use all the resources we can to clean up this oil. So I'm going to keep banging on it.
And with the current sensitivity about oil, a spill in Michigan is getting a lot of attention. A leaking pipeline that sent oil into a creek that feeds the Kalamazoo River. And while booms have been deployed, an estimated 848,000 gallons of oil has already escaped here. Trails of oil sheen can be seen all the way downriver, far from the bulk of the spill. It's coming from a 30-inch pipe that runs from Indiana to Ontario, owned by a Canadian company, Enbridge. It carries 8 million gallons a day. Officials say they don't know what caused that pipe to start leaking yesterday.
He's described as a completely inadequate response to Tuesday's oil spill near the Kalamazoo River. More than 800,000 gallons of oil have spilled into Michigan waterways after the rupture of an underground oil pipeline carrying Canadian oil into the United States. Concern is now growing the oil could reach Lake Michigan. The Detroit Free Press reports the company that owns the pipeline, Enbridge, was notified twice this year of potential problems of involving old pipe prone to rupturing and an inadequate system for monitoring internal corrosion. The spill is believed to be one of the largest in the history of the Midwest. In news on the BP oil spill,
Matthew Simmons is founder of the Ocean Energy Institute. He joins us on the phone. And Matt, thanks so much. Always good to talk to you again. I know you were hearing what Lizzie was saying.
Yeah.
Some of the information that I'm seeing here in our Bloomberg story, the pressure inside that well is now over 6,800 pounds per square inch since it was sealed on July 15th. Does that give you cause for concern?
No, it's a total diversion.
Why do you say that?
That's the gas condensate that was trapped in the drilling riser which blew off the wellhead at 10:01 a.m. or p.m. Central Standard Time on April 20th. That's a mile-long compressed natural gas. What we don't know anything about is the open hole, which is caused by the drill bit. When they tossed the blowout preventer way out of the hole and all the casing out of the hole, and we're flowing 120,000 a day minimum of toxic poison, is now covered the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
So what they're talking about is the biggest environmental cover-up ever, and they knew that well would that riser would finally deplete,
right,
and then they could say it's over, and unfortunately we now have killed the Gulf of Mexico.
So Matt, you're saying that this is Lizzie O'Leary. You're saying those pressure readings that they are saying are coming from inside that wellhead just aren't valid?
No, they're the riser pipe.
Right.
It's attached to the rig floor.
And you're saying that's simply a diversion from actually getting a decent reading down near...
Some 5 to 10 miles away is what the NOAA research vessels have now proved is a deep oil lake that's growing by the day. And it's very toxic oil, and its gases are very lethal. And basically, if we have a hurricane now, we need to evacuate the Gulf.
Was found dead in his home after supposedly drowning after apparently suffering from a heart attack. Matt was very vocal on several nationwide news programs making claims that have led some people to question his sanity, as well as blowing the whistle on BP and the government on several issues. Matt Simmons was very well connected to oil industry insiders and top government officials in charge of regulating the oil industry.
لو كنت حبيبي